welcome. Thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now. This is Times Now Live and I'm Hina Gambhir. Let's get started with the big story that we have for you from Telangana. Over 300 canines were allegedly killed in a district of Telangana. Around 300 carcasses were found dumped in a pit, bringing the total number of stray dogs found dead in the state this month to nearly 500 to 600. What stands out is the silence of Rahul and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. Last year, in August, Rahul Gandhi said the Supreme Court directive to remove all stray dogs from Delhi NCR was a step back from decades of humane, science-backed policy. So now questions are being raised on the silence of the Congress party, specifically on what we are witnessing in Telangana. Let's straight away go across to my colleague Shomit, who is joining us live right now for more on this. Shomit, firstly, explain to our viewers, what is the story really of 300 dogs being allegedly killed in Telangana?
Well, recently, this is not the first such instance. Recently, in a village where even the videos were clearly shot by the villagers themselves to actually Sarpanch and also vice Sarpanch and also even others, including, the village secretary. They were directly involved in hiring two men the contract was given, and these two men were openly roaming in the village and they were killing the stray dogs. And that was one instance, and the another instance reported on 23rd January. So a 22-year-old dog lover, animal rights activist, has approached the Jagtial police, stating that in Pakadipalli village, nearly 200 to 300 dogs. So in two instances, nearly 400 to 600 dogs were brutally killed. In one incident, two men were clearly seen killing the dogs with sticks, and also even poisoned. A few dogs were poisoned is what initially was stated. And in this incident also, dogs were poisoned is what animal rights activists have claimed, and even it was mentioned in the complaint. So
right.
Now police
Shomit,
have registered a case.
I'm just interrupting you there because I will like to know what action is the government taking on these cruel instances that are being reported from Telangana. We have with us Brinda Adige, who's an activist, joining us on the broadcast as well. Good evening, Ms. Brinda Adige. Appreciate you speaking with us here on Times Now. 400 to 600 dogs allegedly brutally killed in just 1 month in Telangana. What's happening?
Absolutely atrocious. This cruelty and brutality cannot be accepted in a civilized society like ours. When we say human rights are important, animal rights are as important. And it is the duty of the state to ensure that they are sterilized, they are neutered, and to take care to see how to prevent overpopulation of dogs. But the fact that they didn't do that preventive work, how can they go and murder it? This is nothing but killing and murdering. They cannot call it anything else. And I think everybody must be held accountable. They may not have very strong laws on animal rights, but it is important that the judges take this case up and understand that this kind of killing by the state is unacceptable. Unacceptable. It's a living being, and that means it is our duty in a civilized society to look after these living beings. The fact that we have not done a good job, we have not prevented, does not mean that you will take it out. That brutality, it is atrocious. Brutality and cruelty, because they cannot fight back. They cannot yell back. They cannot go on a dharna or a demonstration. They are silent animals. They have no way that can, talk to the government and say, yeah, now we will gherao you. Isn't it the job of the state government to look after everybody?
And we're not talking about 1, 2 or 5 dogs here, like 400 to 600. It's quite shocking. Thank you very much, Ms. Brinda Adige. Appreciate you speaking with us here on Times Now and sharing with us your perspective. Let me go back to my colleague Shomit, who continues to be with us at this point in time. Shomit, you explain to us what's happening. Now, I want to ask you, what has been government's view on it? What is the government doing about it?
Well, Hina, government is yet to respond on this matter. We tried to speak to the, government leaders, who are holding the positions, and they stated that they didn't know about the incident, and they will be speaking to the local police, and they will be getting the details. Is what even Congress leaders have stated. So, but when we clearly spoke to the police, they stated that immediately after receiving the information and also complaints in both the instances, and even in the instance of where monkeys were recently poisoned and killed, so dozens of monkeys were killed. So in all these instances we spoke to the local police, and they stated that immediately after receiving the complaint from the the complainants, immediately FIR has been booked under relevant sections of BNS Act, and also even under sections of animal cruelty. So investigation has been taken up, and even in one instance, in the previous instance, even Sarpanch was directly Sarpanch, and also even other staff, village secretary staff were booked directly by the police. So even in this instance, they stated that even Sarpanch will be booked, and also even others who are involved will be booked, and stern action will be taken here now.
All right. Thank you very much, Shomit, for the moment, for joining us with your inputs on this story. Let's now move on and shift our focus from Telangana to what's happening in Karnataka. Another day, another Congress leader under fire for remarks that have sparked outrage. We're talking about Congress MP from Karnataka's Koppal, K. Rajshekhar Hitnal, who's facing massive backlash after trivializing a brutal rape and murder, calling it a small, minor incident. The deeply insensitive remark was made during Discover Koppal tourism program, where the MP was referring to the gang rape of a 27-year-old Israeli tourist, a 29-year-old homestay operator, and the murder of a male tourist from Odisha in March 2025. Shockingly, Rajshekhar repeated the statement during his speech, saying such incidents harm tourism prospects. These remarks have triggered widespread condemnation, questioning how an elected representative can casually describe rape and murder like this. Congress party, which often speaks of women's empowerment, is now being asked to answer a serious question. How can such leaders who are shameless and have a sick mindset accused of normalizing rape continue to hold positions of power? Listen in first to what this MP had to say.
ನಾವು ಕೂಡ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಇವು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಂಗಾಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಒಂದು ಟ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಬೆಳೆದು ಬಿಟ್ಟது. ಒಂದು ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂಜಾದ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ರೇಪ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮರ್ಡರ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಅದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು, ನೋವಿನ ಸಂಗತಿ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಪ್ರಚಾರ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂತು. ಅದರ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ 50% ಟೂರಿಸಂ ಕಡಿಮೆ, ಈಗ 50% ಟೂರಿಸಂ ಕಡಿಮೆ. ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸ್ಥಳಗಳಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಪ್ರಚಾರ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಚಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಇವತ್ತು
Now, he's not the only one in the Congress party who's made this kind of a statement. Remember Phul Singh, another Congress MLA, and what he said a few days ago? Listen in.
तो मेरा कहने का मतलब है, रेप की थ्योरी ये है कि कोई भी कैसी भी दिमाग का आदमी रस्ते में जा रहा है, उसे खूबसूरत अगर लड़की दिखी, सुंदर, अति सुंदर, तो उसका ब्रेन है वो इधर वो विचलित हो सकता है, तो रेप हो सकता है. क्यों होता है बलात्कार? उनके धर्म ग्रंथों में इस तरह की निर्देश दिए गए.
हिंदू धर्म ग्रंथों में,
हाँ, उनके ग्रंथों में. अब हिंदू है कि नहीं है, मैं उनके ऊपर मुझे कुछ नहीं कहना. उनके ग्रंथों में तो ये लिखा है कि इस जाति के साथ सहवास करने पर ये तीर्थ का फल मिलेगा, इसके साथ ये सहवास करने पर फलाना तीर्थ का मिलेगा, इसको ये करेगा. तो अब वो नहीं जा पाता उस वहां तीर्थ को. तो घर बैठे विकल्प क्या दिया गया है? घर बैठे इनकी औरतों को पकड़ करके सहवास कर दो तो फल मिल जाएगा. फिर इसलिए 4 महीने की बच्ची के साथ, 10 महीने की बच्चियों के साथ, 1 साल की बच्चियों के साथ रेप सुने आपने? सुने हैं? क्यों होते? उसके ऑर्गन्स का रेप के लिए तैयार है क्या? नहीं. उसे दिखाई देता है कि इस जाति की महिला के साथ या लड़की के साथ रेप करूंगा तो मुझे वो फल मिलेगा.
The Bharatiya Janata Party has launched a scathing attack accusing the Congress of trivializing rape and questioning the party's seriousness on crimes against women. BJP leaders have alleged that the Congress's anti-woman mindset has been exposed once again, claiming the party has backed rapists on multiple occasions in the past. BJP has also questioned the silence of Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, asking why there has been no response from her so far.
See, in this government, so many rapes have happened, murders have happened, but this government is not serious about all these things. So the members of the party also the same. Now MP is telling that. See, rape and murder is a casual thing. Okay, so understand their mindset of the Congress people. See, they are not bothered about the lives of the people, so they take everything very lightly, but it is a serious case in the interest of the society.
This is the state of affairs and mindset of the Congress party. Their home minister says rapes, molestation that takes place during broad daylight are small incidents. Their Karnataka MLA says if you can't stop rape, the woman should enjoy the rape. Shanti Dhariwal, who was a minister in the Rajasthan government, said rapes happen because it's a Mardon ka Pradesh. We have seen the instances of how Congress has backed rapists, and now this. Where is Ladki Hu Lad Sakti Hu Kehne Wali Priyanka Vadra? She's silent. She makes an issue about rapes when it happens in BJP ruled states, but in Congress ruled states, she allows such people to prevail with such mindset.
Let's go across to my colleague Neha Hebale, who is joining us live right now for more on this. Neha, any reaction from the senior leadership of the Congress party? Because so far, BJP has raised questions on Priyanka Gandhi Vadra and Rahul Gandhi. BJP has questioned their silence, but we haven't heard anything from them. What is the view of senior Congress leaders in Karnataka about this MP?
Well, rather shocking remarks coming in here now from the Congress MP Rajshekhar Hitnal, wherein, he trivializes an incident of rape and murder of a foreign tourist in Anjanadri Hills in Koppal district of Karnataka. Of course, this is not the first time that we've seen such shocking remarks by politicians trivializing violent and heinous crimes against women. But as far as the party is concerned, the official stand of the party, of course, is still not known, given that there haven't been any serious reactions that have come in from the government yet. But of course, the BJP on its part here demanding stringent action against this MP here.
Thank you very much, Neha. Appreciate you joining us with your inputs on this story. Let's now move on and tell you what's happening in the world. Will he or won't he? Well, that's the question hanging over the world as geopolitical tensions between the United States of America and Iran escalate. War clouds thicken over Iran. From threatening military action to deploying warships, U.S. President Donald Trump has sent a series of warnings, leaving global leaders guessing what comes next. But the big question is U.S.-Iran all-out war imminent? For that, let's take you through the situation on the ground. In the last 24 hours, Donald Trump has sent out some mixed signals, stating that military aircraft carrier strike group along with other assets are heading towards the Middle East. But in the same breath, he also stated, and I'm quoting him here, maybe we won't have to use it. This left the world confused and anticipating an attack at the same time. Iran in return has issued a stark warning, saying it would treat any attack with an all-out war. Meanwhile, several airlines have also cancelled flights to the Middle East amidst fears of US-Iran conflict. First up, listen in to the warnings from US President Donald Trump.
So Iran's in big trouble. We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made the statement very strongly that if they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very, very hard where it hurts. So we're watching it. We're watching it very closely. We're watching Iran. We're watching Iran. We have a lot of ships going that direction, just in case. We have a big flotilla going in that direction. We have an armada. We have a massive fleet heading in that direction, and maybe we won't have to use it. We'll see.
Let's now take you through the threats President Trump has issued in the last few weeks. Remember what he said on 2nd of January will hit Iran very hard. 11th of January, he said, help is on its way, keep protesting. This was the time when protests erupted in parts of Tehran. Then 21st of January, he said, will wipe Iran from earth. Whole country is going to get blown up. These were the words that we got from US President Donald Trump. Then on 23rd of January, yesterday, massive armada moving towards Iran. We are watching Iran very closely. You just heard that particular point that he made. As tensions escalate following threats from President Trump over Iran's crackdown on civilian protesters, American naval strike groups and strategic assets are repositioning in a pattern that mirrors previous military operations against Tehran. The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group, which was stationed in the South China Sea when Trump issued his initial warnings, has been steadily advancing towards the Arabian Sea. Let's tell you how US is now getting ready. At sea, you've got USS Abraham Lincoln, nuclear power aircraft carrier. What's happening in the air? Fighter jets on board the carrier. Multiple guided missile destroyers are also ready. As far as defense preparedness is concerned, US bases in the Middle East are on alert. Air defense systems, we have learned, have been activated. Let's go across to my colleague Srinjoy Chaudhary joining us on the broadcast right now for more on this. Srinjoy, you know, new warnings have come from US President Donald Trump and a response from Iran too. What do we make of what's happening between both the countries? Where are we headed?
If a fire is lit, if President Trump lights the fire here once again in Iran, this could have very far-reaching consequences, is what is generally felt. Number one, as far as America is concerned, what can America do? President Trump has talked about big trouble. Now, big trouble can be what? Big trouble can be striking Iranian nuclear installations, something he has already done, but that risks contamination. He can strike military installations that the Israelis have done. He can strike infrastructure like oil wells, which is damaging, and also refineries and power plants, which would actually hurt the people on the ground who are protesting. And what can Iran do? Iran can, with all its medium-range ballistic missiles,
Right.
It can fire at all these places in Israel and American bases in the area, not to mention the carrier, Abraham Lincoln, that you've talked about.
All right. Thank you very much, Srinjoy. Appreciate you joining us with your inputs on this story. Let's now move on and shift our focus to another big story of the day. Viewers, this Republic Day, India's message to the world will not just be limited to showcasing its military and cultural might on the Kartavya Path. It will also be about Bharat's economic strength and strategic partnerships. As India marks 77th Republic Day, European Union's top leaders are going to be in the national capital at a crucial moment that we are witnessing right now. For the first time, the President of the European Commission and the President of the European Council will be India's Republic Day guests. Their visit from January 25 to 27 is being seen as a strong political signal from the European Union. The timing is closely linked to India-EU FTA, Free Trade Agreement, which both sides say is nearing completion. On 27th of January, India and the European Union will co-chair the 16th India-EU Summit in the national capital. And viewers, ahead of the arrival, in fact, President of the European Commission had put out this very interesting video on social media platform X. So that's the video that I'm talking about that she had put ahead of her visit to the national capital. She's already arrived in the national capital. EU chief is here. The European Commission president, she arrived in the national capital to attend India's 77th Republic Day celebration. She's going to be the chief guest. And then all eyes are going to be on the much-awaited India-EU Free Trade Agreement. There's going to be 16th EU-India Summit. That's going to take place on 27th of January. Major FTA talks and the mother of all deals are expected to be discussed in that summit.